vibe. Come let we lime, come let we vibe. Lime vibe. Lime vibe.
One. Good night, everybody, and thank you for joining the LimeVibe podcast, our maiden podcast. I'm your host, Youri and Kim from the Bahamas, and I'm joined with our co-host, Ms. Kimberly Ramcalawan from Trinidad and Tobago. Say hello, Kim.
Good night, Caribbean people.
Good night, good night. So, as you can imagine, the LimeVibe podcast is a Caribbean and Central American podcast. And it's not exclusively for Caribbean and Central American people, but it's for everybody. LimeVibe is for everybody. So we want everyone to participate and play a part in this. So, Ms. Ramcalawan, tell me a bit about yourself, Ms. Ramcalawan. Kimberly, I should call you Kim. The notorious KIM.
Well, what can I say? I've been in the media for how many years here in Trinidad and Tobago, and in the last 5 years or so, I've been expanding my reach to the Caribbean, starting with the Bahamas, coming back down, and that's how I got to meet you when I did some news from the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, some news coverage there, and since then we've been chatting, and I've been part of your team at Caribbean Magazine Plus.
Yes, that's good. That's good. And so we decided to do this podcast, Kim. And this podcast is going to be something exciting and groundbreaking. It's going to be path-breaking in the Caribbean, I think. I think we're on a good wicket here, Kim. So this podcast isn't the standard boring podcast where we just talk about a lot of boring stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun with it as well, you know. We probably may have some games, may have some trivia. And it's going to be an interactive podcast as well. We're going to open up the Zoom link for everybody so they can participate if they want to call in, they want to participate in this live show. And it doesn't matter where you're from, whether you're from Bermuda, whether you're from Trinidad, whether you're from Venezuela, whether you're from Costa Rica, you will be able to log in and talk to us and chat with us and interact with us. So we're on all the major social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitch, where you can see we broadcast live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 8:30. So please join in with us at the LimeVibe podcast. So Kim, what are we doing with this podcast, my dear? What exactly are we doing?
Trying to reach the length and breadth of the Caribbean, make it a smaller place. I mean, bring it together. We seem so separated and disjointed at times, but we really want people, and we are exploring the similarities in the Caribbean, you know, and diminishing those differences, making them smaller.
Yes. And I guess they can see from the difference between you and I. You are Indian Caribbean. I'm a Black Afro Caribbean. So it looks like an odd couple, don't we? We look like an odd couple, don't we? An Indian Caribbean and an Afro Caribbean. You're from Trinidad, and I'm from the Bahamas. We're kind of stuffy and conservative, while Trinidadians are kind of loose and relaxed and fun going and happy going and fun loving. So tell me, Kim, how is it in Trinidad? How do you feel about yourself in Trinidad right now?
What do you mean feel about myself? I mean,
how do you feel about things? That's an awkward question, isn't it? How do you feel about things going in Trinidad right now in the Caribbean?
In some parts, I'm seeing the Caribbean moving upwards. We're seeing that we're finding our voice in the region and the global sphere of things. When you look at people like Mia Motley and Raquel Moses from the Caribbean Climate Smart Accelerator, they're really paving the way and making sure that our voices are heard at global platforms. You know, the COP26, 27 were major things, you know, groundbreaking for us when it comes to securing our coastal assets, securing our land space, or tiny islands, small island developing states, they like to call us. That's the term that's used at places like the United Nations and things like that. And seeing the progress of people actually hearing what climate change is doing for us. So I think that's one thing. I mean, we still have our problems. And I know in Trinidad, we have a basket full of problems. We've got crime.
Oh, Lord. A bag full of problems.
And then, you know, there's always politics. And I think every island cannot escape from its own set of politics. Politics creates a world of problems for itself, and it can also provide a world of solutions.
Yes.
So I guess it's how you look at it.
Yes, yes, indeed, indeed. There's a lot to unpack in what you said just then, because I think there are problems straight around the Caribbean, like how you said, and we just can't escape it. I think part of the problem is we stem from a colonial background, colonial underpinning that really still plays a part in our daily cultural life. You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, our education system, for one, is a reflection of that colonial past.
Hmm.
Here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a lot of denominational schools which
Mm.
stemmed from our various cultures and how we were colonized.
Hmm.
You've got the Roman Catholic schools and you've got the Anglican schools, but you also have the Hindu schools and the Presbyterian schools.
Yeah, yeah. Now you talk about Hindu schools. We don't have that in the Bahamas. We don't have a significant Indian population. I think the Indian population is only in Guyana, Trinidad, and Suriname, isn't it?
I think we have sprinklings in Barbados, Grenada. If you were to look at how the
Okay.
indentured laborers came, and Jamaica.
Hmm.
Jamaica has a
Yes.
segment in population. I think that's probably where they get their curry, their type of curry. But when you look at when the indentured laborers were brought to the Caribbean, they were dropped off here and there
Mm-hmm.
throughout the island. So it's not just in the southern parts of the region, but they
Mm-hmm.
span all the way up to Jamaica as well. The
Okay.
Jamaica, there's also the Indian High Commission.
Yes.
They
Oh wow.
have established a commission there that outreaches to the diaspora
Mhm.
in the northern parts of the Caribbean.
Okay. Okay. So I guess that's me being corrected just then. I didn't know, because that's another thing too. Because I'm an Afro-Caribbean, we tend to think that we're the only Caribbean people in the Caribbean, whereas we're made up of Indians, of Chinese, of Greeks. There's a whole wide range of cultures that's in the Caribbean, and people don't get to see these people. I did an interview last year with a Caucasian Jamaican lady. She sounds more Jamaican than Portia Simpson Miller, the former Prime Minister of Jamaica. And it blows my mind. But if you see her, you wouldn't think that what would be coming out of her mouth would be Jamaican patois. And it's just amazing. I had to laugh at her. It's just funny how things go. Caribbean is the person. It's in the person itself, I believe. And saying that, there's so many people to really pick and choose from. Like today, just today, I spoke to a St. Lucian lady who moved to Britain with her mother, and now she's been living in France for the past 5 years. So it just goes to show you how far and wide our Caribbean people can go. And she's a fashion designer, and she's making good strides in Paris right now. I guess I'll go off the phone before we start this podcast. Kim. And those are the kind of people we want to showcase on LimeVibe. These are the kind of people we want to talk to. You're not some old boring old politician and old boring old this and that, blah, blah, blah. We want to talk to people who are doing things. Caribbean people who have an interest and who have creativity, who have style, and who have flair. That's what we want to reach out to, Kim. So, Kimberly, Ms. Ramkalawan, tell me one more thing, okay? I know you've probably been watching the politics around the region. How do you feel about all these things happening with these elections that are going in almost like sweeps and landslides? Have you been following these things?
Well, there's a notion that Caribbean leaders, they often pull out the election date from their back pocket. A lot of certain date in their constitution. Okay, elections are usually constitutionally due within 5 years. But you're seeing a lot of them trying something where they want to extend their term in a kind of, because they're probably lacking confidence. I see them as lacking confidence in the electorate for selecting them for what they're doing. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago is no stranger to that. We saw Patrick Manning do that in 2010, and suddenly he lost elections to Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Right now in Trinidad and Tobago, we had local government elections due between December 2022 and March this year, and that has been postponed for constitutional reform of our local government policy. Now, local government is like your mayor's office and regional corporations and things like that. So they govern the needs of the secondary matters and the county areas and districts like that. But they're also governed by part of the political parties of our landscape. So like the opposition, they have their members of parliament. They also have their representatives at the local government level. So we're seeing that happen, and with Dominica, it happened recently, and we even saw it with It was astonishing to see Miamo Motley call for a snap election last January.
Yeah,
That was
yeah. They said that was because she, you know, took the country to a republic status, and she was riding a high wave. She wanted to get off this COVID-19 hump. And I think she did a fantastic thing. She did, that's a massive political stroke that she did, but she called that snap election because if it would have dragged on, and God knows when in that time she wasn't sure how long the COVID-19 would have gone on. And I think we've seen with a lot of other Caribbean countries as well. St. Kitts is one, and Grenada's one. When the COVID-19 pandemic just lingered on and on, even here in the Bahamas, people who lingered on with the COVID-19 pandemic, and even in Turks and Caicos, they felt the brunt of it, and governments just fell by the wayside because people just got tired of the COVID-19. And they didn't understand that people were doing this for their benefit. They were trying to help these people, trying to save them from themselves, to be honest with you. And so people couldn't understand that. They couldn't understand the lockdown. They couldn't understand the masks. They couldn't understand the sanitization. They couldn't understand the 6 feet different distance. And it was just, you know, too much for people to bear. And I lived. I don't know how bad COVID-19 protocols were in your country, Kim, but here it was very insulting. You know, we had to wait to get food. Sometimes they tried that, but they had to stop that. We had to stand 6 feet apart. We couldn't go out at certain times in the night and certain times in the day. We couldn't congregate in too many places. We had to stand outside to go in certain places like we're animals. It was dehumanizing, man. I don't want to go through that ever again. You know, I hope it doesn't happen ever again in my lifetime. What about Trinidad, Kim?
I know, Bob. When I saw what Bahamas was doing with the times, I couldn't understand the logic behind it. Now, Trinidad also had its own lockdown measures. We had our curfew. It moved from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., then to 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. We didn't have restaurants. Restaurants only reopened last September in 2022. So people weren't allowed to dine out. The restaurant business in Trinidad took a major hit with that. And then the vendors. When I talk about the vendors, I'm talking about people who sell food. And Trinidad and Tobago has a big street food culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would have suffered. A lot of them would have closed their carts permanently. Or doubles that. One of them.
The doubles, right?
Now that brought something, a bit of hope to us. I mean, the way our economy is looking, that could be another avenue. Doubles makes money. That once you know how to make a good sauce and a good recipe, you're good to go.
Have you guys ever thought about mass producing doubles? Or that's something that has to be homemade by scratch, by hand?
I think that has to be done. So during the lockdown, we were seeing little containers like you know, in the frozen food section. It's not the same. And for diaspora coming home and they want to take it back, they have a way of freezing it and taking it back.
Yeah,
that's a to doubles, man, though.
The doubles, man.
No one has figured the recipe out as to how we can mass produce it and sell it frozen. I don't know. Probably in the years to come, we might see a dehydrated version of it. We're seeing our chokers and our vegetable servings that you would serve for breakfast. We see that's dehydrated, and all you do is just add water, and it's like you actually roasted the melon and the pumpkin, and you cooked it yourself to eat.
Yeah. Mind you, if they could mass produce things like lasagna and spaghetti, they could do doubles. You know, they could do hot patties. You know, it's just a little bit of ingenuity. I think we may put that out in the atmosphere. You know, someone should mass produce doubles because it's becoming a hot thing now around the Caribbean. People talk about Trinidadian doubles now, even though they haven't been to Trinidad. They want to try Trinidadian doubles, and it's like a Trinidadian thing. You know, I could see that happening. Why don't you? That's an idea for you, Kim. Start a Trinidadian doubles, mass produced doubles. Oh my god! So where did the name doubles come from, though?
So it's really a bara. It's a fried, dough. I think the vendor that originally was selling it, one customer asked him, "Give me another one, double it up." And I think that's where the roots for the name come. So it was usually sold as bara with the chickpeas filling and the sauces, and then they decided to add a next one, and that's how it became trendy. And that's dating back to the 1930s, 1937.
Doubles. Wow, that's interesting. Doubles. Double it up. Doubles. That's cute. So, but I'm serious though. Think about mass producing doubles, Kim. Think about that, man. That may be an idea. Think about that, man. So back to the Lime Vibe podcast now. Kim, there's a lot of things to unpack around the region. There's a lot of things like from different island to island. We have the Soca Monarch celebrations have been canceled in Trinidad now. You say, so I found out, but that doesn't mean that Carnival is being canceled though. Carnival's still going on, right?
No, this is actually our return to Carnival after 2 years of the lockdown.
Okay.
Now, COVID was in existence in Trinidad back in February 2020, but I think they downplayed it. And you were seeing some masqueraders with their mask on, but there was still rivalry back then.
Okay.
They didn't know the grasp or the extent of how the pandemic would have affected them here in Trinidad. And then after we went into full lockdown mode, not too long after Carnival in 2020, and now it's the return of it, and they're calling it the mother of all carnivals.
Well, that means we gotta come. We gotta come. Lord,
But,
the mother of all carnivals.
the International Soca Monarch was cancelled. The organizers announced it on this Friday, gone by, that they were not getting the funding that they needed to carry out the event. Usually, the International Soca Monarch is known for giving out lavish prizes. I mean, the top singer usually walks away with $2 million TT dollars. That's quite a hefty sum, even in these days. But it's usually that amount. When you hear that price, you know why the organizers say they can't afford it, especially if they were depending on government subvention to help them.
Yes. 2 million TT dollars, a lot of money, man. How much does that work into US dollars? Is what, $200,000?
I think it's a lot more than that.
Let me see. I'm looking at it right now. Turns out to, let's see, $1 for every 6 Trinidadian dollars, 220.
That calculates around 7.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Anyway, I can't do it anymore. My mind's being blanked on that. So I did it the wrong way. I have the calculator. I have it inverse, and I don't want to go back and change it. So I'll find them later. So,
happening. I mean, crime is on the minds of people, and a lot of people like myself. When you would want to go to participate and watch panorama finals and things like that, which usually ends up the next morning. So it starts off the evening, the afternoon, and it will go on to the next day's morning. You're not going to want to do that. The reenactment of the Canberra riots, which occurs on the Friday before Carnival, you're not going to. I mean, there are people who will go, but a lot of even Juve has become a hot issue when you're seeing a lot of people, because it's revelry, it's mud mass. People take chances of doing wicked things. Sorry to say.
Wicked things.
Even as a news reporter, when you would usually go outside to cover these events, you're kind of being cautious, staying close to camp and everything like that.
Wicked things like what though? I mean, violence or what?
Violence. You're seeing a lot of violence. You hear, police pull up someone with a gun, someone gets shot, stabbed, things like that. So crime is on the forefront of a lot of people's minds when it comes to participating in this year's carnival. Well, COVID might be done, and you might be looking forward to revel and freeing up yourselves. Trinity culture calls for that. You're not going to want to go out there when there's a risk of being injured or harmed.
Yes. Understood. Is there a heavy drug trafficking culture there in Trinidad?
Yeah, I mean, Trinidad is right on the coast of Venezuela, so you know that we're on the transshipment zone for drugs. Or customs. There was this whole issue a few months ago, where it was disclosed at the Joint Select Committee at Parliament level that a lot of the scanners at the ports of entry were not working. And we're getting a lot of AR-15s, and those are heavy guns. And they have one image of a 20-year-old. He looks like he still has the milk in his face.
Yes.
20-year-old's a baby, and he has this big rifle, and his little baby niece is behind him.
Crazy, man, crazy. Our Prime Minister Philip Davis, he went to this meeting in Argentina, for ECLAC, the United Nations Economic and Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, and he went to Washington after that, and he begged Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris to stop the flow of guns coming in from the United States to the Caribbean. So I think when you say AR-15, the AR-15 is an American-made gun. It's not a Russian-made gun, not a French-made gun. So it's coming right over the border from the United States. So we give them guns, or we give them drugs, and they give us guns. So we killing ourselves protecting their drugs that they want. My goodness, it's a sad thing. I spoke to a former deputy police commissioner yesterday, Bertie Hines, from Barbados, and he said that we have to do something. We have to change the model of policing inside the Caribbean. You know, we have to change the model of policing. We have to get more of these police officers trained in sociology and criminology, so they could see these patterns moving throughout the society, and so they could take a different approach to policing, not just the same ham-fisted hammer on the head kind of approach to policing. The policing model is well outdated. It's not tracking new modern criminals. It's not up to date with things that we need to do to track these criminals. Say, for example, the scanners are down in Trinidad. You know, the scanner is an important part of fighting the crime fight in the United States. And we're right on the doorstep of the United States. How come we don't have scanners? Why is the scanners down in Trinidad? You know, that's the question. But anyway, these things happen. But I just going to show you how it's going throughout the Caribbean, and Barbados is suffering from the same problem. We talked about some of the other southern islands like St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada, where there's probably there used to be a murder every 6 months, maybe one a year. Now they're having two, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are having a murder every month. And it's crazy, man. It's out of control. And I think, what's his name? The Prime Minister there, Ralph Gonsalves. He said he's blaming it on the flow of guns and drugs into the country. And so usually it was only the Bahamas and the more northern Caribbean countries that were transshipment place for drugs. Now the transshipment zones are going straight throughout the Caribbean. We're being flooded by drugs and guns, and it's insane. Why would they give us guns, Kim? We don't make guns.
No, we don't. Here in Trinidad, there's also the notion that the police are involved, because sometimes it's becoming a regular thing now that you're hearing that was murdered and they're hearing spent shells that were belonging to the regiment.
Wow.
And then we've got the influx of the migrants from Venezuela, and they too are bringing in some level of guns. And even a former police commissioner who had retirement last week, he admitted to seeing a rise in guns and homicides because of the migrant situation here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Not Gary Griffiths that you talk about, right?
No, I'm talking about our acting police commissioner. He was McDonald J.
McDonald, yeah.
Last week he retired, and we thought he was coming back. We heard that he was going on vacation, and he's retired. But it seemed to have stopped after that joint select committee meeting. So, in Trinidad, you know, the gossip goes around here.
Yeah. Speaking of Trinidad gossip, you know what I want to talk to? You know what I really want to meet in Trinidad? Twiggy. You ever heard of the social media star Twiggy?
I have heard of her.
I want to meet Twiggy. I want to interview Twiggy on LimeVibe. Yes, I would like to. Seriously, she sounds like a very interesting and engaging woman. And she and even her antics, you could tell she's not a dumb woman. You know, she's very intelligent. She just that she's, you know, street Trinidad, you know. And those are the kind of people we want to talk to, man. We want to unwrap what Twiggy has to say about we want to unwrap what Twiggy has to say about life. Can you organize that for us, Kim? Can you get in contact with Twiggy for me? No, I'm serious.
That on your own for sure. She will see that hat and she's gonna say, yeah.
I'm her boy, you know. How it go, Twiggy? If you see this afterwards, reach out to me. Reach out to Youri Camp at LimeVibe, and I'm sure to interview you. I want to hear exactly what you have to say, Twiggy. You know, you give me a hoot and holler every time I see your videos pop up. You when you didn't have the water about 6 months ago, and you couldn't wash your saltfish. I found out what saltfish meant. I thought it was something you eat. Well, it could be something you eat, but still, I thought saltfish was something. It was fish. I didn't realize saltfish was you know. Anyway. My goodness, oh Lord.
Pet dogs off or pet dogs here in Trinidad.
Oh Lord. See, there's a lot of things we could
cultural shocks, you know, your experience travel.
Yes. I'm quite certain we have some things here that we say that'll shock you guys as well too, you know. So Yeah, yeah. But you've interviewed people there from Bahamas, so you followed the culture, so you've seen some of the things we say to each other online. You've at least heard people say some things, so it wouldn't come as a shock to you, but maybe to other people in the Caribbean, they would say, "Oh, that's what you call a booty. That's what you call a hip." You know, you
That's
know.
your chance for those things.
Yeah, I think what we call someone's buttocks or hips, we call them a bungi. That's a bungi.
Okay, yeah,
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 a
yeah.
bungi.
I remember that.
And I don't know where it came from, and no one's been able to tell me either. You know, it's just something we just call it bungi. You know, and not it's a funny name, but off of that great stuff.
On all the topics one day.
Yeah, yeah, we
Back
will sit down. We'll sit down. We go through it. We go through island by island, see what all the dialect and all the funny words are, all the dialect is, and then the colloquialism is, and we'll go through one by one, island by island, and we'll make fun of us and go along. That sounds like a plan, Kim.
yeah.
That's a plan. That's a plan, man. So tell me, Kim, how's your how? Go ahead. Sorry.
How's the weather by you guys? Because right now Trinidad and Tobago is experiencing some really strange temperatures. Last night recorded 13 degrees,
Wow.
or
Well,
it's all less urban areas, it's all rural parts, but
mm,
13 degrees and 18.5 degrees, 14 degrees is quite a lot. Our Met Service had to issue a statement. That's
yeah.
coming with we haven't experienced such weather, such temperatures in a long time. I mean, coming off Christmas, the lowest we go is probably 20 or 19.
Mm,
But this is something big for us in Trinidad, you know.
wow. Wow. I got you.
You all are closer, so you all will get that cold front. So how is it there? How are you all coping?
Right now, the weather's gone back. I think it's about what degrees, about 70 degrees or so here. Maybe be a little more.
You all are Fahrenheit, yeah.
Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yeah, we don't we don't do that. Yeah, so it's kind of warm here actually right now. It was cold about 2 weeks ago where it was the wind chill was really cold. I think we got down to about 60, 65 maybe. And it was
Okay.
really chilly here. But otherwise than that, it's pretty warm here again, you know. It's good temperature.
We're experiencing it cold. I mean, all throughout the day, you don't need your air conditioning. I think my air conditioning stopped working last night because it's so I was like, I don't need to work tonight. I'm
Yeah.
cutting off.
Yeah, I know. But it's climate change, you know. You know, one day it's hot, one day it's cold. But my thing is, Kim, do you believe in climate change or do you believe in what the other scientists would call it? It's not really climate change, it's just that the temperature of the world is changing. It's not really climate change per se. Oh, no, Paul, it's not global warming per se. It's more like climate change. That's the way to say it. It's not global warming per se, but it's more like climate change. So you believe in global warming or climate change? Because sometimes you could have some hot weather, sometimes you have some cold weather. Like how you're experiencing now in Trinidad, it's a really cold weather. So that can be global warming, right?
I'm looking at it as global, a bit of both global warming and climate change. We're seeing it happening. The effect of our industrial world, industrialism, and it's taking a toll on us. You see the melting ice caps, and that's causing sea levels to rise. The proof is
Mm,
in it. Scientists have shown it. I remember as a little child looking on to a documentary that was done by a scientist who came to Trinidad, and
mm,
he showed how Idris or uh, southern peninsula
mm.
was eroding and being taken away by the sea.
Yeah.
So when
Wow.
houses once existed along the coastline no longer exist.
Mm,
And coast and they're out in the sea.
mm.
So how can you explain that?
Yeah. Our coastal zones are being eroded by,
Rising
by
sea
the high
level.
levels. Yeah, rising sea level. Yeah. It's endemic, man. I'm not sure if my grandkids are going to be able to see the Bahamas I saw. You know, if they're going to walk the same beaches I walk. You know, I doubt they are. I doubt they are because it's going so rapidly. And as the years go on, there's more and more freak weather like the hurricanes, like Hurricane Dorian, Hurricane Maria, Hurricane Irma. They Hurricane Maria was, I think, wiped out Dominica and Antigua, didn't it? 3 years ago, 2018. And Dorian devastated Abaco and Grand Bahama in the Bahamas. And every year it gets worse. Every year the hurricanes get worse and it's more frequent. And we have to do something about it, man. And the larger developed countries, they need to take a better stock on how they've been treating this world, how they've been treating our environment, because we don't pollute. We are a small speck on the pollution scale, Kim, a small speck. It's these large industrialized countries that are just polluting our air, polluting our water, and making things unbearable for all of us. And the thing is, the rich ones who do it, they want to come to places like the Caribbean to have a vacation. So at least save something for you to come and to want to come and see, instead of trying to destroy it all. But anyway, that's a story for a different day. That's kind of a bummer. But yeah, we need to talk to Raquel Moses, huh? So she could give us her ideas on what climate justice really should be. Maybe we could probably get Mia Botley too. You think she'll come and talk to us?
I'm sure she will. I mean, anything Caribbean, she's into it, and she's been vocal on on the international scale about what is needed. They recently got that World Bank loan that is going to help them, build a resilient, fortify their fight against climate change, the effects that it's been having on their tourism industry.
Yes.
And their
Yes, good. So now I feel kind of put off, Kim. You know why? Because I have on a hat. You don't have on a hat. Where's your hat, Miss Ramcalawan? Your sundress hat. Oh, you got no. Oh, very good. Nice. Very good. Good. That's a good hat. Hey, that's what do you, that's your beach hat, isn't it?
This is one of my beach hats. I don't have my tea party hat with me right now. That's another hat.
Very good. See, now I have a reason to have a hat on, and I think you have a reason to have a hat on too. My thing is, when I got this straw hat, there's a story behind this hat. Just in case people were wondering, right? I was studying in the United Kingdom, and after I finished my studies, I was working for a call center, more like a market research company, and we were outsourced to another large company that was selling some kind of online platform. And so one of the white British guys that was there, I was outsourced with a friend of mine, an Indian friend of mine, who was working for the same company that I was working for. We were outsourced, and so when we would come into the place, the white British guy, he would put a hat like this next to my desk, and he would put a toy horse next to my Indian friend's desk because the horse represented the long black hair, because my Indian friend had long black hair, and so it was very racist. So I asked him, say, hey, you know something? I played off very cool, very kind. I didn't acknowledge the racism. I said, hey, can I have that hat? I like that hat. He said, no, I have to work for it. Okay, well, I decided to work for it. I got my own hat. Thank you very much. I bought this hat from the Exuma Straw Market 3 years ago. So I always had in mind I was going to do this podcast, and I'm going to show my crown. So this is not a straw hat. This is a crown. This is my crown because I won against racism. I stood up for myself, and I played it off because it isn't worth a response and even worth getting upset about. I'm still here. I'm still going global, hopefully. And so this hat is a crown. It's not something to be insulted by. I am from the Caribbean. My name is Youri and Kim. I'm from the Bahamas, and this hat is my crown. Thank you very much, Kim. That's my small.
Story has got to really work for
Yeah, I know. Right? That's good, man. That's good. So, Kim,
I mean, it shows that you've got that pool of art and culture there.
Yeah.
I mean,
promoting
the craftsmen of your country as well.
Yes, the Exuma Straw Market. Yes. If you ever come to the Bahamas, go to the Exuma Straw Market. It's on another island. It's not in Nassau, but even though the main straw market is in Nassau, New Providence, go to one of the family islands. They all have straw markets there. I got this from the Exuma Straw Market. Actually, Exuma is where my mother's from. And so it holds a special significance for me. Yeah. So you can go to Cat Island, where my father's from as well. Or you can go to Nassau. You come to Nassau. That's fine. You go to the straw market here in Nassau, the world famous straw market. You get one of these hats there, one of the straw bags. And we'd love to have you over here, I'm glad to see the tourists downtown now, Kim, because after we opened up in 2021, I think it was strange walking downtown and seeing not a tourist downtown. I mean, it was like a ghost town. But now I'm back to cursing them as they walk past the streets because, they like to walk slow. They're like, yeah, they're always in your way downtown, man. Because I work downtown as well, So they're there sightseeing. I'm there trying to do my work. And so they're always walking slow, always in your way. But I'm glad I have that problem now. I'm glad to see those tourists back. Thank you for coming, Americans and Canadians and British and Europeans. Thank you for coming to the Bahamas and spending some money here. I think we just surpassed 7 million tourists for 2022, actually. We just got the tourism statistics today, and we passed 7 million tourists. I know that's like a drop in the bucket. The other larger market with the Bahamas, that's a significant deal because I think our largest, our biggest year for tourism was 2019, where we had 7.5 million tourists coming to the Bahamas in 2019. So to even be coming close to 2019 numbers, our record year, is something significant. We want to thank every particular tourist that came and well, they wanted to be a part of the Bahamas. I thank you, and come back again soon, please. So yeah, that's where it is. And you can feel free to walk slow in front of me anytime you want. I'll indulge you because I missed you during the pandemic. So always come back. Yes, spend your money.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, man. So tourism isn't big in Trinidad, is it? I mean, you're more like an industrial place, right? Yeah.
Or Tobago. So we're seeing this year we saw the actually November at the start of the year, we started to see the resumption of cruise liners returning to our shores.
Yeah.
That was interesting, you know, and they come, they don't stay that long because they're going for a tour of the islands. They go to Barbados and then to us, and then they head back up Florida or so. So it was nice to see it. Our tourism industry, they usually go to Tobago and then they hop across to Trinidad, you know.
Yeah.
Trinidad's the last place you really want to see. They probably walk around the town or capital city of Port of Spain, and that's about it.
Okay. What's the biggest difference between Tobago and Trinidad?
Tobago is mellow. Tobago is laid back. It's where you want to vacation, you know, and just relax. Every day to me feels like Sunday in Tobago.
Oh, Lord.
That's the feeling. I mean, I'm not saying that places are closed or anything, but it's so serene, tranquil. Compared to Trinidad, Trinidad is where all the business sectors are. We've got the oil and gas industry, we've got the service sector in Port of Spain and in San Fernando, where I live. So there's a lot of business happening here. Tourism isn't so much the focus here. We're more on other areas. When you want to see a sporting activity, cricket, you come to Trinidad. Yes, you want to go to Queen's Park Savannah in Port of Spain, and you know that. What else?
The Brian Lara Stadium, right?
Brian Lara Stadium is where I am. Do you want to see cricket? Yeah, you come to that. Other than that, if you want a really nice beach, I suggest Tobago. And everyone tells you, hey, go to Tobago, you know.
Okay.
But if you want real doubles and you want, you know, your bacon shark and stuff.
Come Trinidad. Okay, I got you. Trinidad and Tobago. It's like a family island here. It's like Nassau and like what? Nassau
We
and
have like what 800 islands though. We're just an island.
over 700 islands. Yeah, but don't you guys have keys around the islands, or it's just too big? No.
In Trinidad, just off our Western Peninsula, you've got some little islets, you know, off the coast. You've got one of it houses or prison. That one of the islands is that, and other than that, you've got some little getaway houses there. But it's usually where the ships pass by. You know, come through there, and you see a lot of industry happening around there too. The yachties come and stay. We have a lot of yachties or yachty industry is there because it's a sheltered area, a sheltered marina, you know, welcoming those who want to get away from, you know, hurricane-prone areas.
Yeah. I got you. Wow, Kim, there's a lot to explore. So come to Tobago and come to Trinidad. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
too
So my
different.
dear,
Chalk and cheese.
chalk and cheese. That's nice. Chalk and cheese, my dear. Chalk and cheese. So, Kim, I think we need to tell them about our live broadcasts now. What we're going to do. This is just our maiden interview, and this is going to go on our social media platforms. This is a recorded interview, of course, but on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, 8:30 to 10:30, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, really. We're going to be live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 and 8:30 p.m. until 10:30, 11 o'clock p.m. in the night. So feel free to join us at that time at the LimeVibe podcast. As I said earlier, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on Twitch, and we'll be broadcasting live on those social media platforms. So please join us. Miss Kim Ramkalawan, any final thoughts before we wrap this up tonight?
I just want to say, I mean, we welcome, as you say, everyone from around the world and the diaspora. If you're feeling lonely or you're feeling homesick, we hope we can make you feel welcome here and, you know, get that taste of the Caribbean vibe that you've been missing, LimeVibe. I mean, you come here to Lime, we come here to talk, you know. Want to raise an issue that's happening. I mean, we're here to hear you and
Yes.
we welcome all people. and really embrace being a Caribbean people. We're one people,
Mhm.
and really bridge that gap. But we've all existed, but I think technology is also helping us come small
Yes,
and
yes, 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 indeed, indeed, indeed. The technology, yeah, the Zoom and the various different platforms, we're all together. I think that lockdown showed us a lot, that we have a lot in common, that we could see each other and we could communicate with each other across different islands. Like I talked to another lady from France tonight. I told you from France, she's a fashion designer, and she got in contact with me through another person I spoke to, another Barbadian who's living in the United Kingdom. So it just goes to show you how we could see each other, how we could connect with each other. So Miss Ramkalawan, Kim, thank you so much for joining me tonight and my co-host, and we're gonna have a bright future with the LimeVibe podcast. So once again, my name is Youri Kemp. I am the host of the LimeVibe podcast, along with my co-host, Miss Kimberly Ramkalawan from the LimeVibe podcast. And I thank you for joining us on our maiden interview on the LimeVibe podcast. Don't forget, we broadcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m., 11 o'clock in the night. So please join us at that time, and we'll be looking out for you. Thank you once again. Good night.
good.
All right, that's it, Kim. Stop recording.